The morning lights inside the View's studio glared brighter than usual, casting a hard glare over the polished tables and microphones as if the room itself sensed the tension that was about to unfold. Scarlett Johansson had been on countless shows before, from late-night talk shows to morning news specials, but the energy in the studio that day was different. Even before she stepped onto the set, a knot had settled in her stomach, a rare sensation for someone usually so composed. Her publicist had whispered a warning on the way in, "Joy's been sharp lately. Just stay calm." Scarlett had nodded, not showing the slightest flicker of concern. She could handle herself. She always could. The makeup team fussed over her, brushing stray strands of hair back behind her ears, smoothing the fall of her black tailored blazer, adjusting the small clip-on microphone with precision. Every movement was meticulous, each gesture practiced hundreds of times before countless interviews. Her publicist hovered near her side, glancing nervously at the monitors that showed the studio from every angle. Producers were moving like a swarm around her, each carrying lists and cue cards, trying to anticipate every possible complication. Yet through the flurry, Scarlett's poise never wavered. She breathed steadily, checking herself in the reflection of a mirror for one final time. Her face reflected calm, her eyes sharp and attentive, ready for the world beyond the cameras. Joy Behar sat across the table, perfectly positioned for the cameras, leaning back slightly in her chair. She held a stack of index cards in one hand, tapping the edges with a rhythm that seemed deliberate, almost calculated. Scarlett caught her eye from across the set and noted the expression there, assessing, sharp, slightly predatory. There was no welcoming smile, no warmth, only a gaze that measured every movement, every breath. It was immediately clear that Joy was planning an ambush, even if Scarlett wasn't sure what form it would take. The producers signaled final countdowns. 30 seconds, called a stage manager, and Scarlett inhaled deeply, centering herself. This wasn't her first high-pressure interview, but there was something in the air, a tension so tangible that even the audience seemed to lean forward in anticipation. The cameras switched on, their red lights glowing steadily, marking the moment where everything could unravel. The music swelled, the studio audience erupted in applause, and the co-hosts introduced her with practiced enthusiasm. "Ladies and gentlemen, Scarlett Johansson," Whoopi Goldberg announced, her voice booming through the microphones. Scarlett gave a polite, composed wave, acknowledging the cheers without exaggeration. Her posture was impeccable, radiating confidence and professionalism. She had prepared for questions about her latest project, a documentary filmed in conflict zones, highlighting the resilience and humanity of people facing unimaginable struggles. It was serious work, and she was passionate about it, ready to speak honestly and eloquently. The conversation began smoothly enough. Sunny Hostin chimed in first, asking gentle, engaging questions about the production challenges and the emotional toll of filming in difficult circumstances. Scarlett answered thoughtfully, emphasizing the importance of giving a voice to the people in the communities she had visited, explaining the months of preparation, and the countless hours of research and collaboration that went into every scene. She described the emotional journey with sincerity, her voice carrying the weight of the experiences she had witnessed. The audience responded with soft applause, impressed by the depth of her engagement. Then, as if triggered by an invisible cue, Joy leaned forward, cutting sharply into the flow. "But Scarlett," she said, her tone mild but her words loaded, "some critics argue that actors like you parachute into these situations for clout. Cameras, tears, dramatic music, and then awards season rolls around. What do you say to people who believe your involvement is more about self-promotion than genuine care?" The audience shifted uncomfortably in their seats. The tension in the room spiked instantly. Scarlett blinked once, deliberately, giving herself a moment to gather her response. She did not rise to the bait, did not let irritation show on her face. Instead, she maintained a measured tone. "That's an unfair characterization," she said, carefully, "and it misses the point entirely. I've spent years working with these communities, often without cameras, long before this project even existed. My focus has always been on the people and their stories, not on personal accolades." Joy smirked faintly, leaning even closer across the table. "Right, but isn't it convenient that every time Hollywood wants to show they care, there happens to be a celebrity with a camera crew ready to capture the moment? Some might see it as a little performative, don't you think?" Scarlett's jaw flexed imperceptibly, though her expression remained calm. "Documentaries require cameras, and awareness requires visibility. Highlighting issues that otherwise go unnoticed is the point of this work, not the point of a celebrity appearance. Joy's smirk widened, almost imperceptibly. Sure, but some people still argue that this is about image, Scarlett. They call it performative activism. The audience murmured softly, unsure whether to gasp or to nod. Even Whoopi looked subtly tense, watching the exchange unfold with careful scrutiny. Sunny leaned forward, ready to interject, but Joy raised a hand, cutting her off before she could speak. No, I want to hear Scarlett's answer. People are tired of celebrities claiming to be heroes without scrutiny. Scarlett tilted her head slightly, her eyes locking on Joy. The polite calm remained, but there was a steeliness now in her voice. I never claimed to be anyone's hero, she said. I simply aim to bring attention to stories that matter. That is the work, that is the purpose. If that's mistaken for self-aggrandizement, it's a misunderstanding of my intentions. Joy raised her eyebrows. But you kind of imply it. Scarlett's smile tightened, remaining courteous but firm. No implication is necessary to recognize reality. I care about this work, and I care about people who don't have a platform to speak. That is the focus of my life right now, not the perceptions of others. The tension in the room was palpable. Every audience member leaned forward instinctively, as if they could feel the collision of words before them. Sunny tried again to interject, her tone gentle, hoping to smooth things over, but Joy waved her off dismissively. Scarlett's posture remained calm but authoritative, signaling clearly that she would not be cornered, not even subtly. Joy's words were deliberate, cutting, aimed to provoke. It's just hard for some people to separate your intentions from your image. Scarlett's eyes narrowed slightly, the calm in her voice now layered with controlled intensity. Joy, I came here to discuss real suffering. Real people who endure hardships every day. I did not come here to participate in a conversation framed to attack my character or my integrity. There's a difference, and I'm choosing not to engage in that. The hallway outside the studio was a long corridor of cold, polished concrete, illuminated by harsh fluorescent lights that buzzed faintly above. Scarlett Johansson walked briskly, heels clicking against the floor, each step measured. Deliberate, as though marking a boundary she would not let anyone cross. Behind her, her publicist hurried to keep pace, adjusting her blazer and gesturing softly toward the exit. Scarlett, wait, are you okay? I'm fine, Scarlett replied, her voice tight, calm, but resolute. I'm done. Her publicist hesitated, then glanced back over his shoulder at the chaotic studio through the open doorway. Inside, producers scrambled like startled birds, trying to regain control of a situation that had spiraled out of their careful planning. Cameras continued to roll even as crew members waved their arms frantically, signaling to stop, to cut, to save face. Clips of Scarlett walking away had already begun circulating on the internal monitors, a ripple of disbelief spreading across the staff. Scarlett didn't slow. She had no interest in revisiting the chaos she had left behind. She had walked away with every intention of reclaiming control of the narrative, of refusing to participate in a spectacle of disrespect disguised as a conversation. Her pulse was steady, her mind clear, yet a flicker of adrenaline ran through her chest, a subtle heat that accompanied moments of confrontation and self-assertion. A producer rushed toward her, headset askew, papers fluttering from his hand. Scarlett, please, just give us a moment. Joy didn't mean. Scarlett stopped briefly, turning slowly to face him. The calm authority in her eyes silenced him instantly. I'm not interested in excuses, she said, her voice measured. Every word held weight, leaving no room for argument. She improvises sometimes, the producer said, almost pleading, trying to find a safe corner of conversation. That wasn't improvisation, Scarlett replied, her tone sharpening slightly, though still restrained. That was disrespect masquerading as curiosity. Another producer appeared, holding a tablet, his fingers trembling slightly as he swiped to show her the latest social media reactions. If you come back for the next segment. Come back, Scarlett laughed softly, incredulity threading through the sound. After that, her voice carried a mixture of irony and exasperation. After being spoken to like that, the producers exchanged panicked glances, unsure whether to push further or step back. Meanwhile, the hum of the fluorescent lights above seemed louder in the corridor, filling the space as though amplifying her decision. Before the producers could say another word, the unmistakable shuffle of footsteps echoed down the hallway. Joy Behar appeared at the far end, flanked by a frazzled assistant who tried to steer her away, whispering urgently in her ear. Joy ignored the assistant, moving forward with slow determination, her expression unreadable but firm. Scarlett took a breath, bracing herself. Scarlett, Joy said, her voice low but deliberate, stopping a few feet away. I think you overreacted. Scarlett met her gaze steadily, her jaw firm, her hands relaxed at her sides. Then you don't understand what happened, she said, calm but precise. Joy crossed her arms, the familiar stance of someone preparing to defend themselves while simultaneously attacking. I asked a question, she said, emphasizing each word carefully, as though the phrase alone could justify the earlier exchange. No, Scarlett replied, voice cool, even, deliberate. You made an accusation, wrapped it in the form of a question. Then you dismissed me with a pet name you wouldn't use on a male guest. That's not a question, that's undermining. Joy's eyes flickered for a moment, a brief hesitation, a crack in the armor of her confidence. This is the view, Scarlett. We debate, we challenge, it gets messy. Scarlett stepped slightly closer, though her movement was measured, non-threatening. Messy is one thing, deliberate undermining is another. You crossed the